What's up, YouTube? It's LeVar Love, your local developer as well as licensed realtor. If you have been checking out my website recently, there have been a lot of great blog posts. So I realize a lot of people are on the internet, they're surfing, and they're looking for quality information in regards to everything about real estate. Well, what I wanted to do today is take a couple minutes out and really touch base and talk to you about the closing process. So you get out there, you search in this really tough market, and you find a great property. You put in several offers, you finally get an offer accepted, and then what next? Because now, as the buyer, you have this crazy process that you have to go through over the next month, 2 months to get that property closed. Or is it a month or 2 months? I really want to talk about that because reality of it is that time frame can change, right? So, what are the things that dictate what that time frame should be? Well, I look at it as two things. One, are you an investor or are you a home buyer that you just paid? You got money, right? So I'm going to close it with cash, right? It's like I got the dineros, here's the money, we're about to close it. So that time frame is typically different than the time frame on if you are working with the lender and you're going to close it with a mortgage or you're going to close it with a hard money loan, right? So if you're a home buyer, you're going to live in it. You go to your traditional lender like Quicken Loans. If you're an investor, you might go to a hard money lender, so forth and so on. But at the end of the day, that time frame with that lender, getting that mortgage, getting that hard money loan is different than the time frame with a cash deal, right? So talking about a cash deal. So you big money war bucks. You got the dollar, all cash for this. We're ready to get it done. If that's the case, then typically you should be able to close it in about 2 to 3 weeks. If you have the cash readily available, it's in your account. Here's what the typical process is. You get the accepted offer back. If you're in the state of Illinois or if you're in a state that requires attorneys to get involved, you immediately get the contract over to your attorney who starts the attorney review process. And also, since it's a cash deal, the only thing that they're looking at are the contingencies. So what would the contingencies be? If you're a home buyer, it might be the home inspection. Maybe you want a BPO or kind of get an assessment of value or something like that. Maybe you want to pay for an appraisal, right? Because you want to live in it and you're paying cash. You really want to know what the true value of the home is. But it would be minimal contingencies. Oh, and a clear title, right? Because that's really the most important contingency, right? For all you people that are paid and got all of this money, it's a situation where you want to make sure that you get clear title. Now, the reality of it is clear title can happen in about 2 weeks, sometimes even less, depending on what title company you're dealing with. So with that being said, the time frame to close on a property, if it is a cash deal, should be somewhere between 14 to 21 days. Okay. And your attorney review period should only be about 5 business days. During the attorney review, you actually get your inspection done, can have that appraisal done. All of that can happen in 5 business days. After those things happen, you simply wait on clear title. Once you get clear title, schedule the closing, get it done. And a closing can be scheduled in 2 to 3 days. So if you're putting in an all cash deal, have your money ready, get ready to close in a couple of weeks. Next, you want to close it with the mortgage, you want to close it with the lender. Now, this time frame varies a great deal. Best lenders I know out there right now are saying about somewhere between 30 to 60 days, with the average days being about 45 days. The realistic time frame to get a property closed if you are getting a mortgage. Let's talk about that mortgage process. That offer accepted, hopefully you've already filled out an application with the lender. So let's take a look at that application. Let's see what that looks like, right? It's pretty much your personal information. They're probably going to verify income, things like that. The lender want to make sure that you can afford this property. Once you complete that application, I tell people you typically fill it out in a day. In a couple of days, you should be able to get your disclosures. Between day 2 to a week, you should be getting your disclosures from the lender. So what do the disclosures look like? That lender sending you the paperwork to make sure everything with this loan is above board, that it's legal, it's not a predatory loan. If you're FHA, that it's approved, and all of the standard legalities around the lending process. So if you're working with the lender, especially in the state of Illinois, where I'm at, that lender has a license. There are a lot of legalities and things that they have to disclose and make sure that you are aware of. For example, the interest rate that you're getting locked into, the time frame, whether you're looking for a 15, 30-year mortgage. That's if you're a home buyer. If you're an investor, you're looking to flip it, then it could be, a 9-month loan, whatever the case may be. But that lender has to provide disclosures to make sure you are aware of everything that you are getting when it comes to that loan. After disclosures come out, that's when the lender wants to make sure that you have all of your documentation in. So now we're probably about a week to 2 weeks into this process. And now they're saying, hey, let me see those bank statements. Let me see your most recent pay stubs. Let me see your your child's first birth in the hospital that they were born in. No, I'm just joking. It's not that serious. But the reality of it is all of the documentation that supports where you are financially, that helps support where you are from a debt to income ratio. All of those documents have to be provided and verified. Basically, the lender is completing a package on you, and they have to submit that package, that completed package, to the underwriter. Okay. Now, typically, if you're getting a loan, all of this is going on while you're getting your appraisal done, because that lender definitely wants to know that the property is worth a certain amount. If you're asking, let's just for easy numbers, you're asking for $100,000 loan to buy a home. It's FHA, so you're putting 3% down. You're putting $3,000 down. They want to make sure that that home is valued at $97,000 or above, because that's how much they're going to lend on it. So that appraisal, but it's going to have the value of your home within a range. It's going to show comps like, hey, we came up with the value of your home based on these comparable sales in the last 3 to 6 months, somewhere in a half a mile radius, depending on whether you are in a rural area or an urban area. That being said, that is the appraisal. Now, once that appraisal comes back, they know the home is worth it. All of your documentation is in, your packet is complete. You've got your insurance quote, everything that you need. Your package is sent to the underwriter. Okay. Now, here is a key piece of information that I tell everyone that I work with. The underwriter's job is not to get you the loan. The underwriter's job is to figure out why the lender shouldn't be lending to you. So they take your packet and they pick it apart. They find anything that doesn't make sense, anything that doesn't look right, and they're trying to figure out, why shouldn't we give you this loan? So I have a lot of people call me and be like, my loan originator didn't tell me about this, and I didn't understand this, and now the underwriter is saying that we can't get approved, or whatever the case may be. And that's because the underwriter sits there with your packet and goes through with a fine-tooth comb to figure out why you shouldn't get this loan. All right. So hey, all underwriters out there, don't bash me. Don't talk about me in the comment sections. All right. That's just the way I get my clients or investors that I'm working with to understand what happens when you go through underwriting and why you now still have to provide more documentation. Typically, after it goes through underwriter, they will either give you a clear to close or a conditional approval. A conditional approval simply means, 98% of this looks good, but we just got one or two questions that have to get answered. So can you send us this document? Can you send us your 401k statement? Or where did this deposit come from that doesn't match up with your pay cycle and this other stuff? Hey, you got it from a friend or someone in your family. Can they just, write a statement saying that that's where you got it from? They gave you this gift. That is basically a conditional approval, right? Or approval based on a contingent approval. Once you get that clear to close, though, you get that conditional approval move to a clear to close, or you get that clear to close immediately from the underwriter, you're home free, baby. You're home free. Now it's time to get this thing done. That's when everybody starts moving at a rapid pace because they know once you get the clear to close, you pretty much can close in about 2 days from that point. So in a tight window, we're looking somewhere around 3 weeks to 6 weeks, somewhere in that ballpark. If, hey, that underwriter is really scrutinizing your package and it looks rough, we're probably looking at that 60-day time frame. It really gets stretched out. But at the end of the day, closing takes somewhere between 4 to 6 weeks on average, maybe 8 weeks if you're a disaster, right? No, I'm just gonna call it how it is. If your financial situation is not good and you probably should have been applying for this loan, then you probably take a loan longer. But either way, now, hey, you got to clear the close. Once you get the clear to close in about 2 business days, 2 to 3 business days, they'll get you scheduled. It'll happen. And then you have your final closing day. So the day of closing, you show up, pen, paper, smiling, all happy, ready to go. Because all you're doing that day is bringing a check for whatever your down payment is or whatever amount you have to bring to closing, and you sign your life away. You don't really sign your life away, but you do sign probably about 100 documents. So you sit there and you sign form after form after form, and it only takes about a couple of hours once the paperwork is completed, and then the loan is funded. All right. So the lender has sent the funds and your loan is funded. That is the closing process. All right. Well, hey, this video probably went a little bit longer than I wanted to, but either way, once again, this is LeVar Love with The Real on Real Estate. Thank you guys. Hey, if you haven't liked, subscribe. I'm going to be putting a lot more information out here. I want everybody to know what it's like to buy a home, buy investment properties. I really want to answer your questions. So check me out on Instagram, ask me a question. I want to jump on YouTube, give a video, write a blog, make sure I'm answering all the questions and giving you guys the real on real estate. Thanks a lot. Have a